Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am your friend Arman. So today in this video I am going to teach you about a small topic of the Motor Vehicle Act 1988. One of the viewer has requested me to make a video on the no fault liability of the Motor Vehicle Act. Okay, so today's topic is today's topic is no fault liability. One of the so no fault liability is covering under section 140, section 140 to 144 of the MV Act 1988. Okay, so under this there are 5 sections and this is the chapter 10. So this is chapter 10. Chapter 10 starting from section 140 to 144 of the Motor Vehicle Act 1988 deals with the no fault liability principle. Okay, so what is this, like what is it talking about? We're gonna learn in this video in detail, so please stay tuned till the end of this video. But before I begin, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you find this video helpful, and do not forget to share this video who are in the need of this video. Okay, so what is no fault liability? Let's understand first. Okay, so the no fault liability is the liability that regardless of the negligence or say carelessness or say rush driving on the part of the defendant, is still the defendant will be held responsible to pay the compensation to the plaintiff. Okay, so the simple thing is, as we have discussed in the law of tort, that absolute liability, so same thing happening here also. So in case of the no fault liability, that means the person will be held responsible regardless of his fault. Okay, if it is not relevant to know that whether he was negligent or not. Okay, so that's what the no fault liability is talking about. So while studying this chapter 10 is section 140 to 144 of the MV Act, we need to refer section 163A simultaneously. Okay, we need to study section 163A and 140, and we also need to refer the second schedule. Okay, second schedule of the act. So and these 3 things we need to cover today. So watch this video carefully, and I'll try my best to make you understand this topic in detail. Okay, so there has been, okay, so now let's start the history of this act. Okay, like history. Okay, so history, what was the position before the chapter 10? Okay, before the section 140 to 144. Okay, so before this, okay, what was the position? Okay, so what was the position? So let's understand that first. So the initially what happened, like there has been a various like decisions of the high courts, okay, which has said that in the case there are 2 various cases. One case was that H.A. Haji Zakaria versus Naushir. Naushir Kahma, and also in the case of Marine General Insurance Company versus Balkrishna. So this is the Bombay High Court case, and this is the Andhra Pradesh Andhra Pradesh High Court case. Okay, so in both of this is of 1977 and this is of 1976. Okay, so in both of these cases, yeah, so the number one, that Haji Zakaria versus Noshir Kama, okay, and another case, Marine General Insurance Company versus Balakrishna. Okay, so in both of these cases, the High Court have opined that regardless of the fault of the defendant, I mean the rider, the person will be held responsible. Okay, like it is not relevant. The court said that it is not relevant whether the defendant was negligent or not. Okay, and it is not the responsibility, the burden of proving the negligence and all these things doesn't come to the shoulder of the victim. Okay, so the simple thing is that, like, the person will be held responsible if anything caused, any kind of wrong, injury, or say death, permanent disablement caused to the victim, the rider will be held responsible. Okay, so that's what the opinion of the court, I mean the high courts. Okay, but in the case of Minu B Mehta versus Balkrishna, Balkrishna, 1977. So, but in this case, Supreme Court said that, okay, in this case, Supreme Court said that the liability to pay compensation to the victim arises if the plaintiff proves, if the victim proves that the defendant was negligent. Okay, like it is the responsibility if it was the word of the Supreme Court that liability of the owner or the insurer of the vehicle could not arise unless there was a negligence on the part of the owner or the driver of the vehicle. Okay, so the Supreme Court held that the Supreme Court, by overruling the decisions of the Andhra Pradesh High Court, the Supreme Court opined that in order to the liability of owner, insurer, liability of the owner, insurer, or say driver of the vehicle, so driver of the vehicle arises only if it is proved that say either of them is negligent, either one of them is negligent on their part. Okay, if it is not proved that those people, the whatever the injury is suffered by the victim is not because of the negligence act of the owner or say insurer or say driver, then the victim will not get compensation. These three people will not be responsible for it. Okay, so this was the opinion of the Supreme Court. Okay, so we have seen two situations, like in the case of the Haji Zakaria versus Noshir Kama and the Marine General Insurance Company versus Balakrishna. In two cases, the High Court has said that the liability is it is the prima facie the insurer or the vehicle owner or the driver will be held responsible regardless of his fault. But in the case of Minu B Mehta versus Balakrishna 1977, in this case the Supreme Court said that in order to arise the liability of the owner or insurer or the driver of the vehicle, motor vehicle, only arises when it is proved that it is because of the fault or default of the owner or the driver of the vehicle. Okay, so that was the case. Okay, but So this was the case, okay. And after that, by the amendment in the act, there was an amendment, okay. Like after that, the act was amended in the year of, so earlier the MV Act was of 1939, okay. So 1939, earlier the act was of 1939, and it was amended in the year of 1982. So 1982 amended, okay. So amended in the year 1982, okay. So I'm just giving you over, like I'm just telling you about the history. These things are not relevant, you don't have to write it in exam, but I'm just telling you for your understanding, okay. So Motor Vehicle Act 1939, it was the old act, and it was amended in the year 1982. So it was after that Motor Vehicle Act 1982, okay. So after that amendment, a new chapter is added, okay. A new chapter was included in here, okay. So the new chapter was sections chapter 7A. Chapter 7A was inserted, okay. Chapter 7A was inserted, and section 92A to 92E, okay. From 92A to 92E, like this chapter, these sections are included in the 7A chapter, okay. So like chapter, so it is like this new amendment, what it did, it brings that no fault liability principle. No fault liability principle. No fault liability principle, okay. What it did, regardless of the fault of the defendant, driver or say owner of the vehicle, he will be held responsible for the anything suffered by the plaintiff, okay, the victim, okay. So this new amendment recognizes this principle, okay. The new amendment included the inserted chapter 7A containing section 92A to 92E, okay. So, and this chapter recognizes the no fault liability principle, okay. So after this amendment, it is now confirmed that the person will be held responsible regardless of his fault, okay. So now this chapter so yeah, so after this amendment, it has rejected the common law principle, that is person will be held responsible only if he is negligent, okay. So it has rejected that principle that we found in the common law principle. Now the person will be held responsible, okay. And now after the amendment, so it is now again the act is amended in the year of 1988. This is the act that you are right now going to be follow, okay. MV Act 1988, okay. So after this act, that the principle that is recognized in the chapter 7A containing section 92A to 92E, so it is now inserted in the MV Act in chapter 10, okay. In chapter 10 containing section 140 to 144, okay. So now we will find no fault liability principle in the section 140, section 142, section 144 of the Motor Vehicle Act 1988 under chapter 10, okay. So this is the condition now, and this was the history how it came, okay. So I have given you the briefing about it, that how it came, okay. Now we will see one by one what is the section is talking about, okay. So first of all we will see section 140. Section 140, what does it talking about, okay. So section 140 says that section 140 and prima facie, it's it recognizes the no fault liability principle, okay. And it is saying no fault liability has been recognized, and when the death or the permanent disablement has resulted from the accident arising out of the use of the motor vehicle, the amount of compensation payable shall be under. Okay, so section 140 prescribes the amount of compensation to be paid to the victim. Okay, so it is recognized, first of all it recognizes the no fault principle, and after that it prescribes the amount to be paid to the paid to the victim, like for the as a compensation for. So it guarantees the compensation amount. It guarantees the compensation amount to the victim compensation to the amount to the victim for the death or permanent disablement arising out of the accident of the motor vehicle. Okay, so this is how you can write in the exam. Okay, like it is not possible for us to remember the book, like the language of the Baer Act. Okay, if you follow the language of the Baer Act, then it will be difficult for you to write in the exam. If it is possible to remember everything, then well and good, but if it is not possible for you, then you can write in this way. Okay, so I have written like section 140 guarantees the compensation amount. Okay, what amount to be given? Compensation amount to the victim victim to the death of victim for the death or the permanent disablement arising out of the accident of the motor vehicle. Okay, so this is like section 140 guarantees, first of all you write guarantees the no fault liability principle, that and it guarantees the compensation to the victim which is arising out for the compensation like permanent disablement and or say death, either death or permanent disablement caused to the victim. So the owner or the insurer or the driver of the vehicle will be held responsible to pay the compensation. So what amount like section 140 prescribes, let's see that first. Okay, so the amount is like, in case of death and in case of permanent disablement. So in case of the death and in case of the permanent disablement, in case of the death, in case of the death, the amount is like fixed rupees 50,000. Okay, fixed rupees 50,000, and in case of the permanent disablement is 25,000. Okay, not less than this. Okay, 25,000. So it is the fixed amount. Okay, it is the fixed amount that is guaranteed by the section 140. However, section for 50,000 is very less amount, you might have been thinking, but this is like if you see the Baer Act, and in the Baer Act it is written 50,000 rupees. However, there are various principles that we see when we discuss the 163A. When we see the 163A of section 163A, these things will be clear to you. Okay, why it is less and everything. Okay, so the statute under section 140 provides, in case of the death 50,000 rupees, and in case of the permanent disablement 25,000 rupees. Okay, so let's look at it in detail. So in subsection 3 of the section 40 says that the burden of proving the establishing whether. Okay, so section 140 subsection 3, it says that the burden of proof So in this case, like section 140 subsection 3 says that there is no question of burden of proof. So it is the responsibility to prove the default or the fault of the defendant or the fault of the driver or say the owner of the vehicle is not under it doesn't come to the shoulder of the plaintiff, I mean the victim, okay, come to the victim. So and it does not affect like whether the plaintiff was whether the rider of the motor vehicle was negligent or not. It's not relevant. What it like, it's section 140 subsection 3 guarantees the no fault principle, okay, applies the no fault liability principle, and according to this principle, the rider or the owner of the vehicle will, or the insurer will be held responsible for the death or permanent disablement caused to the victim, okay. So section 140 subsection 3, what it did, it just gives them little more effort to establish the principle of no fault liability, okay. So that's what it is. And now we will have to read the section 163A and section 140 together, then it will be clear for us to that what is no fault liability and all that, okay. So section 163A, okay, section 163A, what it did, it also enforces the right given under section 143, okay, the principle. So it gives the enforcement to it, okay, like it only talks about, like say it is section 140 is that we have two kind of law, that is one is procedural law and one is a substantive law. So section 140 say, you can say it is a substantive part, okay, it is a substantive part, and section 163A is a procedural part, okay, okay, you can say that. So it is a procedural part. So section 140 guarantees the no fault liability principle, and according to that principle, if the victim is entitled to get rupees 50,000 in case of the death and rupees 25,000 in case of the permanent disablement, okay. And now section 163A provides that the procedure to calculate the amount, okay. So the makes the special provisions as to the payment of compensation on a structured formula basis. So structured formula basis. So the formula is that, like it says that I'm reading it out. Notwithstanding anything contained in the act in any other law for the time being enforced, the instrument having the force of law, the owner of the motor vehicle or the authorized insurer shall be liable to pay in case of the death or permanent disablement due to the accident arising out of the use of the motor vehicle, compensation as indicated in the second schedule to the legal heirs of the victim as the case may be. So what it is just saying the same thing as section 140, that the victim like in the section 140 it is given 50 and 25,000 rupees, okay. Like section 140 only talks about like 50 and 25,000 rupees. Now this amount is like, if you see it in the current situation, the amount is very nominal, very nominal. So the 50,000 rupees is not amount for the which we can like say a compensatory amount, okay. So in section 163 what it does, like it provides the formula to calculate, structured formula. Section 163A provides the structured formula to calculate the compensation amount. So what section 163A says, that it provides the structured amount for calculate the compensation amount, and it says that according to the second schedule, okay, second schedule. So it talks about the second schedule. So what is second schedule? The second schedule is given by the central government, I mean the parliament, at a interval or at an interval basis, okay. So you don't find the second schedule in your book and by Barrack, but I have gathered that information for you. So what is second schedule is talking about, I will give you. Okay, like the formula that is provided under section 63A. Section 63A only talks about the formula. It doesn't give the formula. Okay, exact formula it is not given under section 63A. It is not given under this section. So we will find the formula in the second schedule. Okay, so what is that formula? Let's see. Okay, so I have downloaded that formula. So I am going to so one more thing. Okay, one more thing before that, 163A and section 140, both the sections talks about the permanent disablement. Okay, so the definition of the permanent disablement is not given under the Motor Vehicle Act. Okay, so for that purpose the Motor Vehicle Act says that like permanent disablement will have the same meaning as given under the Workmen's Compensation Act 1923. Okay, so Workmen's Compensation Act, when we will read the labor law, then you will find this act, Workmen's Compensation Act. This is really good enactment for the welfare of the workers. Okay, for the employees. Okay, so Workmen's Compensation Act. So under this Workmen's Compensation Act, the definition of the permanent disablement is given. Okay, so section 163A talks about, and also section 140 talks about the death and the permanent disablement. So definition of the permanent disablement is given under Workmen's Compensation Act 1923. Okay, so the act is saying to rely on it. Okay, for the definition of the Workmen's Compensation Act. Okay, so under the Workmen's Compensation Act also there is a various formulas are given for the to calculate how do you identify that whether the person is suffering from the permanent disablement or the partial disablement, or say permanent partial disablement or the permanent temporary disablement. So everything, the formula is given under Workmen's Compensation Act. Okay, we have to see that. But apart from that, in the second schedule, recently the second schedule in the second schedule it is given the formula for the to calculate the formula. Okay, so in the second schedule it says that the compensation payable in case of the death shall be 5 lakh rupees. Okay, so there are total so there are total three sections under the second schedule, 3 sections. So under in the first section it says like fatal accident. Okay, fatal accident. So in this case the fatal accident means the death. So in case of the death of the victim, the fixed amount is rupees 5 lakh rupees. Okay, 5 lakh rupees. The fixed amount is 5 lakh that to be given to the victim. Okay, so this is the first clause. Okay, and the second clause, this is the clause A. Okay, and the second clause, that the compensation payable, so accident resulting from the permanent disablement. So in case of the permanent disablement, okay, permanent disablement, so in case of the permanent disablement, there is a principle. Okay, there is a principle alignment, the formula that we have talked about in the section 163A. That is the formula is, let me write it down. So the I'll write it again. So the formula is to calculate compensation accident resulting from the permanent disability compensation payable. So like in case of the permanent disablement, the formula is like 5 lakh rupees amount into percentage of disability. Okay, So in case of the 5 lakh rupees amount and the percent of disability, okay, so for what is the percent of disability, like how, at what percent the person has suffering from the disability, okay, so that we will find. So for this we need to rely on the formula that is given under the Workmen's Compensation Act 1923, okay. So after this, so this is the formula, okay, this is the formula, 5 lakh into permanent percentage of disability, and after that whatever the amount is like we found, so that will be the amount of compensation given to the victim, okay. This is the formula, 5 lakh into the percentage of disability, okay. And provided that the minimum compensation in case of the permanent disability of a kind shall not be less than 50,000, okay. So there is a proviso given here, proviso, it says that however the person like the compensation payable for the permanent disablement, okay, the compensation payable for the permanent disablement shall not be less than 50,000 rupees, okay, 50,000 rupees. So it shall not be less than it shall not be less than 50,000 rupees, okay, like it has to be minimum 50,000 rupees for the permanent disablement. However, the permanent disablement is not the major thing, okay, but still the permanent, if the person is suffering from the say permanent disablement, then the minimum amount should be 50,000 rupees, okay. So this is what the formula is all about, okay. And it also talks about in the clause 3, it talks about in clause 3 it talks about the accident resulting in the minor injury. So if the person suffers the minor injury out of the accident, if the person suffered the minor injury, then the amount of compensation is 25,000, okay. So the minimum amount is rupees 25,000 shall be payable on and from the date of the 1st January 2019. So this notification, this second schedule was given in 1st January 2019, okay, from the 2019 1st January. So this is the current status, okay. Minimum 5 lakh rupees for the death, and for the permanent disablement 5 lakh into the percent of disability suffered by the victim as per the principle, as per the formula given under the Workmen's Compensation Act 1923, okay. And if the person suffers the minor injury, or there is a proviso that and the proviso is that if no matter like whether the person has suffered from the the permanent disablement, the amount of compensation shall not be less than 50,000 rupees. That was the proviso. And if the person suffered from the minor injury, okay, if the accident results in the minor injury, then amount of compensation is 25,000 rupees, okay, shall be payable, okay. And it is applicable, and this notification was given by the Official Gazette and Official Gazette, okay. So like let's understand, okay, what is Official Gazette. So Official Gazette, so in like this might come, remember this, okay, in your Assamese paper, like Official Gazette might come to translate, okay. The Official Gazette in the Assamese, it will be remember that, okay, it will be Rajpatra, okay. Rajpatra, ठीक है sir. So remember that, okay. So yeah, so from the in the Official Gazette, the notification came in the 1st January 2019, okay. From the 1st January 2019, this is the principle, okay. And yeah, and also it says that every like 5%, okay, and there should be a 5% increase. So there should be a 5% of increase, like since in 2019 the court has the Official Gazette says that, I mean the second schedule says that from the 1st January 2019 like the compensation payable to the victim is 5 lakh rupees, okay, 5 lakh rupees, okay. So not less than 5 lakh rupees. So here 5 lakh rupees, and there should be 5% of increase in the 5 lakh rupees per annum. Okay, annually there should be 5 lakh rupees like increased. Okay, so now in 2019 it was 5 lakh rupees, in 2020, so 5% increased here. Okay, and again in 2021 another 5% is increase on that amount. Okay, so depending on the cost of the living and cost of the living, the government has fixed this amount. Okay, so there should be 5% increase per annum. Okay, so this is all about the second schedule. Okay, this is second schedule is talking about. So now it is clear to you what is 163 is talks about. So 163 gives the procedure to calculate the amount of compensation, and whatever the amount is given under section 140, that is 50,000 and 25,000, it is obsolete now. Okay, it was the previous condition, but now if you see the 163A, then under this 163A, so there is a principle given, that is 5 lakh into the, in case of the death or fatal injury, that is 5 lakh rupees, and permanent disablement, then 5 lakh into the percentage of disability, like that. Okay, so this is the condition of section 140 and 163A. Okay, I hope it is clear to you now that it is talks about the liability of the rider, insurer, or the owner of the vehicle. Okay, and section 140 subsection 3 subsection 4, section 140 subsection 3, it says that the right to get compensation under section 140, okay, the right to get, I'll not write it. Okay, so the right to get compensation under section 140 subsection 1 shall not be defeated, okay, shall not be discarded by the wrongful by proof. So like what it says, like section 140 subsection 4, it says that the right, the compensation guaranteed, the compensation guaranteed under section 140 subsection 1, that is 50 and 25,000, shall not be defeated. Shall not be defeated. Okay, it is shall not be defeated. Shall not be defeated by reason of the default. By reason of the default of the victim. Okay, so it says that the like section 140 subsection 4 says that whatever the compensation given under the section 140 subsection 1, that is 50 and 25,000 rupees, shall not be defeated by the reason of the default of the victim. Okay, so it is only it is also talking about the no fault liability only. Okay, and there should be no reduction or say deduction. Okay, it is fixed. And so however there is a proviso. Okay, like for section 140 there is a proviso. The proviso says that like the amount amount that is given under section 140, that is 50,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees or 25,000 rupees shall be reduced. Okay, like there is a proviso says, okay, proviso says the amount that is guaranteed under section 140 subsection 1 shall be reduced from the amount that is given under section 163A of the act. Okay, like the amount as 163A. So 163A guarantees what amount? As per the second schedule, is 5 lakh rupees. Okay, is the 5 lakh rupees, and the amount that is guaranteed under section 140, that is 50,000 rupees. So that should be deducted from here. Okay, like 5 lakh plus 50,000 is like, this is not the case. Okay, like the 50,000 will be deducted from here. Okay, that means what? He will be given only 5 lakh rupees, not 50,000 rupees. Okay, so this will have no effect for here. Okay, so it is talking about this. Okay, so this is the provision. That the provision says the amount that is guaranteed under section 140 should be deducted from the amount that is guaranteed from the compensation that is guaranteed under section 163A of the Act. Okay. So now we will see the section 141. Okay, section 141. What section 141 says? 141 says this like very simple thing. Section 141 provisions as to the right of the claim to compensation. Okay, so let's see the headline. 141. Section 141. The heading is like provision as to other right to claim compensation, other right to claim compensation for death or permanent disablement. Okay, so section 141 says that it provides the provision as to the right to claim compensation for the death or the permanent disablement. Okay, so in section 140 we have seen the amount of compensation for the death is rupees 50,000 and for the permanent disablement is 25,000 rupees. Okay, now like section 140 and that is for the claim of death or permanent disablement. Okay, section 140. And apart from the death and permanent disablement, if the victim or the representative of the victim wants to get the compensation for another loss that is being suffered, that is being like the consequence of the accident. For example, the victim who was died in the accident is a working person. Okay, if he is a working person and he is the earner, he is the only wage earner of the family and he was the householder of the family, then in that case it is the response. Now it is a great loss for that family. Okay, for that family. Now for the well-being of the family, the amount is needed, so that amount will come, that amount. So if the representative of the victim wants to get the compensation for the their daily needs and all the expenses, then apart from that, that is given under section 140, then so the section 141 talks about that. Okay, so now in section 140 says that the 50,000 rupees. Okay, 50,000 rupees, and if the victim is not satisfied with this amount, and he wanted more, he wanted the excess of the amount rupees 50,000, beyond the amount of rupees 50,000, then in that case it is the responsibility of the victim or the representative of the victim to prove the negligence of the defendant. Okay, negligence of the defendant. So this is what the section 141 talks about. Apart from the compensation given under section 140, if the victim wants more than that, then that he has to prove, that means the victim has to prove the negligence on the part of the defendant. Okay, that's what it is talking about, section 141. Okay, section 141 subsection 1. Okay, now and section 141 subsection 2. So in section 141 it says what it says. Section 141 subsection 1, it says that section 141 subsection 1, it says that apart from the compensation given under section 140, if the victim wants more than that, then it is the responsibility of the victim or the representative of the victim to prove that the negligence prove the negligence of the driver or owner, okay, whatever. Okay, so it says this. Now section 141 subsection 2, it says that like the claim amount and the compensation amount, the procedure, okay, the procedure should be done expeditiously. The amount, like the procedure should be done expeditiously as soon as possible. The compensation should be given as soon as possible. So section 141 subsection 2 says about the expedition, okay, that means the fast, it should be fast, okay. And section 141 So section 141 subsection 3 provides that like notwithstanding anything contained in the subsection 1 where in respect to the death or permanent any person is liable to pay compensation under section 140 is liable to pay compensation in accordance with the right to first. So yeah, it says that like little different thing. It says that the like whatever the compensation is guaranteed under section 140 subsection 1 and section 141 subsection 1. Okay, so like this talks about section 141 talks about the primary compensation, that is 50, 25 and 50 and 25,000 rupees, and section 141 talks about that apart from this compensation, if the victim wants more, then he has to prove the negligence of the driver, okay, negligence of the driver, okay, so he has to prove the negligence of the driver. And section 142 says that the claims shall be completed expeditiously, okay, it should be speed and fastly, okay, rapidly it should be completed. Okay, it talks about the expedition, section 141 subsection 2. And what section 141 subsection 3 says, section 141 subsection 3 provides the principle, okay. Now it provides the principle without affecting that whatever said in this act. Like section 143 provides that, like, see, 50,000 rupees and another compensation asked by the plaintiff. Okay, so section 141 subsection 3 provides the another formula. Okay, okay, so what it says, I'm going to write it down. 141 subsection 3, it says, if the amount of first mentioned compensation is less than the amount of the second mentioned compensation. Okay, so the first mentioned compensation is rupees 50,000. Let's suppose, okay, like he was awarded rupees 6,000 rupees. Okay, so 50,000 rupees. Okay, so he was the first, this is the first mentioned compensation. Okay, first mentioned compensation, this is the first compensation. The first compensation will be given to the plaintiff is victim is rupees 50,000 rupees, right? And the compensation that is given under section 141 subsection 1, okay, that is like 141. If the amount of the first mentioned compensation is less than the amount is the second mentioned compensation, or so 50,000, and the compensation given under section 141 subsection like 1 is suppose like 25,000. Okay, 25,000. So that means 50, it is less than the first this is the second mentioned compensation, right? So yeah, less than the amount of second mentioned compensation, then shall be liable to pay in addition to the first mentioned compensation only such amount of second mentioned compensation as the equal to the amount of which exceeds the first mentioned compensation. No, like if like the first mentioned compensation amount is less than the second mentioned compensation. Okay, so he was in the second mentioned compensation he was awarded rupees, let's suppose 1 lakh rupees. Okay, 1 lakh rupees. He was awarded 1 lakh rupees. Okay, under the second mention compensation. So in that case, if the first mention, so section 141 subsection 3 says that the first mention compensation, that is 50,000 rupees, and if it is, and the second mention compensation 1 lakh rupees, and if the second mention compensation exceeds the amount given under the first mention compensation, then only the second, this amount will be given, this amount will be paid, this amount will be paid. That means the second mention compensation will be paid to the victim. Okay. Okay, now very simple, don't get confused. It is just saying if the second mention compensation is more than the first mention compensation, that means section 140 subsection 1. Suppose in section 140 subsection 1 is given 50,000 rupees, and in section 141 subsection 3 it says that if the second mention compensation that is guaranteed under section section 141 subsection 1, suppose under this section the victim got rupees 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so in that case, section 141 subsection 3 says that if the second mention compensation amount is more than the first mention compensation amount, then only the second mention, whichever the higher amount, that should be paid. Okay, second mention, the higher amount should be paid. Okay, so that's what the section 141 subsection 3 says. So this is the one subsection, and another point is that, it says if the amount of the first mention compensation is more than the amount mentioned in the second mention compensation, then shall not be liable to pay the second mention compensation. Okay, so yeah, so reverse it. Okay, reverse it. So the first mention compensation is rupees 50,000 and second mention compensation is 25,000 given. Okay, 25,000 given. That means in that case what happened? So the 50 plus 25, this is not the case. Okay, so in that case the higher amounts will be paid. That means the 50,000 will be paid. 50,000 will be paid. Okay, so this is the section 141 subsection 3 says. Okay, now we will see the section 142. I hope it is clear to you now. If you have any confused doubt, you can ask me in the comment section, or you can follow me on Instagram. I have given my Instagram link in the description box. So section 142 talks about permanent disablement. Okay, 142, section 142 talks about the permanent disablement. So it talks about the permanent disablement. Okay, section 142. For the purpose of this chapter, the permanent disablement of the person shall be deemed to have resulted from the accident of the nature referred in subsection. Okay, so in section 140, the person has suffered reason by the accident any injuries involving permanent or privation of the sight of. So it gives the definition of the permanent disablement. Okay, it says that under subsection 1, it says that permanent privation. Okay, permanent privation of sight. Let me take another chalk. So permanent privation of the sight of either eye, either eye, or the hearing of either ear, or hearing of the either ear. Okay, so either ear or member, or any member, or privation of any member or joint. Okay, So like section 142 subsection 1 says that the permanent privation of sight of either eye, okay, any one of the eyes, like if the victim lost any one of his eye, or he lost his hearing power of either ear, or say there is a provision of the any member, like suppose any part of the body stops working, or any joint of the body stops working, that will be termed as permanent disablement, okay. And destruction of the or the provision of the impairing of the powers of the member of the joint. So it is also in subsection in point B, it says that like it is the privation, the deprivation or destructions of the impairment of the power of the member or joint. So any member of the body, any member of the body or joint, if it stops working, so that is also be counted as a permanent disablement. And one, it also says that disfigurement of the head or the face. So if it is any kind of injuries in the face or in the head, so that will be also called as permanent disablement. So that's what the section 142 talks about, okay. Now we will see section 143. So section 143 section 143. So section 143, it just says simple thing that in certain cases whenever the act is silent, so the act, like there is a need of the solution for computation of the disablement, how much, at what percent the disablement is suffered by the victim, and all these things. So all these things will be as per the Act of 1923, that means Workmen's Compensation Act. So that will be under the Workmen's Compensation Act. So section 143 only, it gives the power, it try to connect the act, okay, connect the Motor Vehicle Act along with the Workmen's Compensation Act. So it is the connector, okay, you can say that it connects to both the acts. So it gives under this section 143, the victim will have, or say victim will have the power to claim for the compensation under the Workmen's Compensation Act also, okay. So this is only talking about this very simple thing, you can understand once you read it. And section 144, okay, section 144. Now section 144, and it says that the act will overriding effect. Overriding effect, okay. So it talks about the overriding effect. So what is overriding effect is the provision of this chapter shall have the effect of not. So like it says that the provision contained under this section, under this chapter, okay. So this chapter is what? This chapter is 10. So we are discussing chapter 10 from 140 to 144, okay. So under this chapter, whatever the provision is given, the provision is what? The provision is no fault liability. So it cannot be defeated by any provision under this act, that means. So this has the, this provision has the overriding effect. Anything, if any kind of amendment is given, amendment is done under the act, and which deprives the right to claim compensation from the owner, insurer, or rider of the motor vehicle, that will have no effect, okay. So section 144 says that it has the overriding effect, like it is the supreme right of the victim. It is the supreme right of the victim, and it has the power to override anything given under the act, okay. If the act tries to disable, hamper the right to get the compensation from the compensation for the victim, then such kind of provisions will be not applicable, okay, since it has the overriding effect. So section 144 gives the power, okay. So it is like that. I hope so this is all about section 140 to 144, chapter 10, no fault liability, okay. So I hope it is clear to you and I could make you understand about this topic. If you still have any doubt, queries, questions, then you can do let me know in the comment section, or you can follow me on Instagram. So by saying this, I conclude. I hope you like this video. If you find this video helpful, then do hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great day, guys.